Good afternoon and welcome. My name is Suzanne Whitney and I'm a vocal educator and I also work with SmartMusic. I've been teaching voice and choirs privately for about the last 9 years and working with SmartMusic for about the past 2. So my goal for today is to introduce you all to the new web-based SmartMusic and to take you all through the new guided warm-ups that we have built with Andy Beck. Andy is the author of the Sing at First Sight books, these ones, and the Vocalize books. I know that I use the Sing at First Sight books with my students working on sight singing skills and stuff like that, so it was really exciting that we had the opportunity to work closely with Andy to develop these for the American Young Voices educators and for our free content. So Andy's goal with these books was always to ask the question, are you teaching your students how to sing or are you teaching them the notes? And our goal, along with Andy's goal, is that you can do both. Now, you can absolutely do both, on your own, but we want to set you up with some tools that will help you and your students succeed in working on those musicianship skills, working on vocal technique and learning the notes all at the same time. So I do want to take you all through our philosophy and a little bit of information behind SmartMusic before we take a look specifically at those guided warm-ups. So a quote that gets tossed around Make Music fairly often is, "The quality of your practice is just as important as the quantity." I honestly would take it a step further and say that the quality is more important than the quantity of your practice. I know I would rather have a student in the practice room really focused, really dedicated practice for 20 minutes than spend an hour learning how to do something wrong, because we know that practice makes permanent. So if you're practicing something in the wrong way, then your student is making bad habits in the practice room. So in order to make sure that practice time and rehearsal time is efficiently used, we have a little equation that we put together. The first part of that equation is to set specific goals. Now, we could have some basic goals like, I want to learn the notes and words to the song for the concert. It's a great place to start. And SmartMusic can help through creating assignments and giving your students some structure. And then beyond the basic goals, we can have some more advanced goals. We want to improve our students' knowledge of vocal technique. We want to improve our students' musicianship skills. SmartMusic can also help with that. The next part of the equation is expert instruction. That means you guys. We are aware that you all have the classroom expertise, you have the pedagogical knowledge, and more importantly, you have the ability to instill that passion for music in your students. So you are such an important part of this equation as we build towards these efficient and effective practice sessions. And the next part here, we've got deliberate practice. So back to that idea that students have structure and have an idea of how to practice once they're outside of the classroom. SmartMusic gives them the understanding of what they're going to practice. They have assignments, they know what they need to work on, and they know how, because we're giving them things like these guided warm-ups that include technique, include musicianship, so that they're improving those skills while they're working on their own. And one of the ways that they can really improve while working on their own is through immediate feedback. So working with SmartMusic, your students will see red and green notes as they sing along. They'll see whether or not they're singing the correct pitches, whether or not they're singing the correct rhythms. So they have some ears outside of the classroom. They may not have a musician in the family. And so once they leave your classroom or your studio, they may not have support in building musicianship skills. So we want to give them that support, and that's a way that we can do that is through this immediate feedback. So now that we have sort of some philosophy behind smart music, I want to take a look specifically at these guided warm-ups that we were talking about that Andy Beck has written for us. So what Andy has done is combined exercises from his different books into one guided warm-up so that we have one way to start our rehearsals, start our lessons, start our practice sessions. So the first section of each of these guided warm-ups is 3 vocal warm-up exercises, something that focuses on technique while warming up the voice in a healthful way. Then it's followed by 2 sight singing examples. We have a rhythm exercise so that they are building that foundation of rhythmic understanding, and then they have a pitch exercise. So that is, the next step up. We're adding on the layer of including sight singing as well as just rhythmic sight singing. Then the last thing in each of these guided warm-ups is a canon. So this gives students the opportunity to build independence and start listening across the choir from the very beginning of their rehearsal. And the fact that they get to perform something right away in the middle of their warm-up, even though we're working on making sure that the voice is ready to sing trickier things, they have the chance to perform right from the start, which is fun and gets them engaged and ready to go. So what I would like to do is show you what these guided warm-ups look like. So we're going to take a look at a couple of little videos of how these warm-ups work within SmartMusic itself.
Here we have exercise 1 in the guided warm-up routine number 1. We have feet are firmly planted from the Vocalize book. This gives us a chance to start talking about alignment and body usage from the beginning of our rehearsal. So our students are engaging in this discussion not only before and after we start singing, but while they're singing, they're using words that make them think about how they're using their body. So what we'll be doing here is using the play function. So this will allow your students to sing along with this lovely accompaniment that Andy has written, and also to view the cursor as it moves across the music so that they're connecting what they're seeing to what they're singing. So let's give this a shot. There we go. Feel free to sing along. Feet are firmly planted on the ground, knees and hips and chest aligned. Shoulders are relaxed, arms hanging down, head is balanced on the spine. Feet are firmly planted on the ground, knees and hips and chest aligned. Shoulders are relaxed, arms hanging down, head is balanced on the spine.
Alrighty. So that was our first little video here. And one of the things that I really love about those exercises is that your students are thinking about alignment. We were talking about how, this is focusing back in on alignment from the beginning of your rehearsal. And I know that I like to incorporate body movement too. So, we're saying shoulders are relaxed, we can relax down. Head is balanced on the spine, nice lifted arms, so that we can incorporate movement in our body as well as what we're saying, as well as, what our students are trying to accomplish with their voices. So it's a great way to start. We have, after that, there would be 2 more vocal exercises, and then we would get into the sight singing. So let's take a look at our second video so you can see how this would work for your students if you had set up the sight singing as an assignment. So let's take a look at this video.
Next up in this guided warm-up, we have our sight reading and sight singing exercises. There is both a rhythm exercise and a pitch exercise. So this gives us a chance to start building our musicianship skills. So I know Andy Beck's goal with these is to make sure that the students are learning musicianship so that you can also take time in your class and in your rehearsals to focus in on vocal technique so that we can do both. And with SmartMusic, we have the awesome opportunity to use the visual immediate feedback to give students that understanding of, yes, I'm singing the correct notes, no, I'm not, right away, and even without an instructor standing by to say yes or no. So I wanted to take a look at how these exercises work in an assignment format. So what we'll do is we'll say record, and then we'll need to calibrate our microphone. Since this is the first time we're recording, the first time that we're getting any feedback, we're going to want to make sure that our microphone is set up and ready to go. Awesome, here we go. Then you're shown the exercise for the first time. It appears and you have a countdown, so you have a study period as a student. You as the teacher, when you're setting up an assignment, can adjust the study period so that it's longer or shorter, whatever you think your students need. To get their first note, they'll just click on this note head to hear that. Whenever they're ready, they can always say, "Start now." So you can see we have those green notes for notes that are sung correctly. If we ran into any incorrect notes, we would see those red notes. The note head would appear red instead. Ooh, I'm rhyming. So then this submission is immediately submitted so that your students' first take is what is graded. So here we would just say close, and they could go back and listen if they wanted to go back and check and see how they could improve for the future. And that's how our sight reading would work in this guided warm-up.
So that was what the sight singing option looks like. And like I said, that's how it works in an assignment format. But if we're looking at this as the guided warm-ups at the beginning of a rehearsal, we can also absolutely do this in a group setting. So I love the idea that we are setting the expectation that we start our warm-up and then we do some sight singing, because those are skills that we've got to build, and having that expectation at every rehearsal that we're going to start with some sight singing is a great way to sort of destigmatize sight singing and get your students excited about it. And starting to do it as a group is a great way to get them more comfortable. I also really appreciate that Andy doesn't enforce a particular system for sight singing. You know, I was using solfege, but because that's what I'm comfortable with. But if your school is using numbers or just singing note names, whatever you want to do, you can do that, because he hasn't set up specific syllables for you, which I think is really great. Also, you heard in the video that I was using accompaniment underneath. But if you want your students to, if you want to take away that safety net of the tonal support, then you can absolutely do so. So you can remove that accompaniment too and still have your students sing along and be assessed, which can be a great little challenge for them as well. So the last video going over the guided warm-ups that I want to take a look at is just our canon to end things out. So let's take a look at our video number 3 here, and we're just going to see what the canon looks like in SmartMusic.
The final element in each of these guided warm-ups is a canon from Andy Beck's canon collection. So these are great because they get your students listening across the choir from the very beginning of your rehearsal. So we can start building independence and, maybe split into more parts than you had done before in a very approachable way. So each of the canons start in unison, split off into 2, 3, and some of them up to 5. So what I would do here is use the play function again. So we're not assessing the students exactly, we're just having them sing along with this lovely accompaniment, work on listening across the choir, and building this independence. So let's give this a shot. We'll start in unison. Feel free to sing along, pick a part as we go. We'll go through 2 rounds of it, I think. Now we're in 2 parts. Going, we keep adding parts and giving your students a chance to prove themselves, prove that independence.
Alrighty, so that's our canon. So that's how your students would end their guided warm-up. So they have the chance to have a little performance even at the beginning of rehearsal, which is pretty fun. So I do want to take a look at some of the other things that we have in SmartMusic. So we do have our guided warm-ups, but within our music library, we have a lot of different content that your singers can use. So beyond just the warm-ups that are the specific, guided warm-up that has the 3 exercises, 2 sight reading examples, 1 canon. We do have other method books. So we have the full Sing It for Sight books. We have the full vocalize books, and then we have, other vocal method books, like if you use the 90 Days to Sight Reading Success or Patterns of Sound, we also have those. So we have some other options for your students to work on those musicianship skills. We also have exercises in SmartMusic that are, make music products. So that we have scales if you want your students working on learning how to hear those modes. We have that, and even working on different intervals or twisters, just more things to develop their ears and their coordination. We have those available. Then beyond that, we have choral ensemble titles. So, if you all are doing festival songtus or something else like that, we have those titles available in SmartMusic. We have around 150 titles at this point, and we're adding more every month, which is pretty great. We actually announce everything that we add to on our SmartMusic blog. So if you go ahead and check out the SmartMusic blog on smartmusic.com, you'll see our monthly updates about which content has been added to SmartMusic, so you can keep track of that there. And then we also have vocal solos. So we have the 24 Italian hits, which you can search for individually by title. We also have, some more contemporary stuff. We actually just, I don't know if you all have been listening to the Found Tonight mashup that has been released, but we all have that available already, which is pretty fun. So if your students are begging for some Dear Evan Hansen Hamilton mashup, then they've got that there in SmartMusic as well to work on. And then the last kind of category that you can use in SmartMusic is content that you upload yourself, which is pretty cool. So, if you look through the ensemble titles or something and see, oh darn it, the arrangement that I wanted isn't available there, then what you can do is take something that you've notated yourself and upload it to SmartMusic. So I want to take a minute to check out how that process works so that you can all see and hear that, which is pretty fun. So let's just take a quick minute to look at that process, and we'll see how that works. So we would start this on our home page, and then go ahead and scroll all the way down to the bottom of your page, and you'll see that we've got a section called My Recently Uploaded Content. You'll want to click on the Upload New Content button to pull up the next page. So you're essentially going to create a book that you can upload your own music to. You only have to enter in a title and then a category. You have other information that you can include. You can even upload a cover photo for the book if you would like, but you don't have to. It's optional. We'll just stick to title, composer, and category for now for us. Once we've got that typed in, we'll just go ahead and say Save Changes. Once we've saved those, we'll be able to keep on moving forward with that blue arrow. And since we've created a book, we can enter in multiple movements. We can, if we're creating our own exercise book or sight reading book, you can label those however you want. But if we've just got one choral title, I often use the same name for the movement as I do for the book. Then we've got that option to add music. So we'll go ahead and click on that. And once we've got that, we have the option to upload a score. So we want to make sure that we've exported our original score to the correct file type. So you'll see that we can play back. This is a finale file. We can hear the sound for the playback, but this is something that you'll also hear once we get it uploaded to SmartMusic. So your students will be able to practice along with the different parts once we've got it uploaded and available in SmartMusic, which is pretty cool. So this, like I said, this is a finale file, but you can use other types of notation editors to create stuff, such as Sibelius or MuseScore or NoteFlight, whatever you're working with. You'll just want to export to that Music XML. So once we've got the Music XML version, which is sort of a generic language for notation, we'll be able to save that and then upload it to SmartMusic. So we'll just take a moment for it to save. And then once it has, we'll switch on back over to SmartMusic. Click that Upload a Score button. And then we can choose that file that we just exported from Finale. Make sure it's the Music XML version, because that's the kind that SmartMusic can read. And open it on up. Now SmartMusic is reading a lot of things while it's uploading. It's recognizing the different instruments, it's recognizing the notation that you've entered in, and taking the time to upload that so that your students have access. Now once it's uploaded, nice and quick, we'll be able to confirm all the instruments that we want making noise while we're using it in SmartMusic. So I like using the piano sounds for the different vocal parts. That's just my personal preference. I would rather have students listening to the piano sounds than synthesized voice, but if you want to switch it over to synthesized voice, you can absolutely do so. You would just select that particular sound as you're setting up these parts, but we're going to stick to piano for now because that's my preference. Then we'll go through and finish up each of the parts. And once we've confirmed the instrument for each of those parts, we'll finish that upload process. Once it's finished loading, you'll be able to play it back in SmartMusic, which is pretty cool. So your students will be able to hear the different parts, work on coordinating what they're singing with what they're hearing from the rest of the ensemble, even when the rest of the ensemble isn't around, which is pretty nice. So we have that awesome playback capability, which I pretty much love. So that is the upload process, and I really do appreciate that if you have your own particular arrangements, if you're making your own arrangements for SmartMusic, or for your concerts rather, you can put those in SmartMusic. So you're not limited to our library. Our library is sort of limitless with your help. So I also wanted to take a minute to talk about accessibility and the types of devices that work with SmartMusic. So we know that so many schools have one-to-one programs with Chromebooks and with iPads, and so we wanted to make sure that SmartMusic was something that your students could use and could use on the devices that they have. So we do have that ability to use the web-based SmartMusic on Chromebooks, on Mac computers, on Windows computers, and also on iPads through an app. So that's pretty sweet. And I finally just wanted to take a minute to circle back and talk about ways that we can use these guided warm-ups both in and out of the classroom. So I love these guided warm-ups to set expectations for both vocal technique and musicianship right from the beginning of our rehearsal. If we are saying from the beginning of our rehearsal every day that we're going to focus in and make sure that we can sing healthfully, we're going to focus in and make sure that they're learning musicianship skills, that students are going to become really strong musicians so that they can come to rehearsals prepared, so that they can work on their music outside of the classroom confidently. I think this is a great way to set that expectation. I also love that using these as a way to warm up at the beginning of rehearsal allows us as educators to expand our focus. We all have to develop the skill to pay attention to whatever Johnny is doing in the back row from behind the piano. But at the same time, if we are using these warm-ups and using the accompaniments that are included, we have the ability to actually step out from behind the piano. So we can engage with our students in a different way. We can walk through the rows of our students and listen to what they're doing so we know more intimately what our students needs and how we can help them accomplish their goals. I also love the idea of using these guided warm-ups as a way to create structure for an at-home warm-up. I know when I was younger, I had teachers who would record warm-ups for me on cassette tapes and CDs as I got older. But if we can give students these warm-ups, we know that they have a healthful way to start their at-home practice sessions. And we know that they have a way to start their at-home practice sessions that engage them in vocal technique, that engage them in musicianship, and make sure that they're not just, hurting their voices when they're working at home, which is a worry I know that we all have. So, and finally, I love them to be ears for your students when you're not around. So sight singing and learning music on your own can be so stressful and can be hard for students to learn when they don't have a musician in the family and when you're not around as a teacher. So to give students the opportunity to build musicianship skills on their own through the sight singing, and also to learn how to practice music and how to learn music on their own by working through solos or choral ensemble stuff in SmartMusic and seeing that on-screen notation and that immediate visual feedback. It's just a gift for your students and a way to set them up for success with this tool. So now that we've got you set up and seeing the benefits of SmartMusic, just a little reminder to tack on at the end here is that whenever you're starting something new, a new program, it can be a little stressful for you and your students. So know that you are not alone and that we have teams here to help you if you have technical questions. So make sure to reach out to us for help so that you don't have to be tech support on top of everything else. We know you have plenty of jobs to get done already. So you can either give us a call or submit a ticket to our help center, and our teams are definitely there to help you. So I hope you are encouraged to check out these guided warm-ups, which are available for free. You can go to smartmusic.com to set up your free teacher account and get going so that you and your students can build towards these skills and enjoy practicing at home.